Welcome to Long Story Spoken.
Long stories, spoken simply.
Welcome to Long Story Spoken, the podcast where we dive deep into the stories behind the things that shape our lives and the books that inspire them. I'm your host, Katie, and today we're doing something a little out of my comfort zone. Usually, I'm the one who's devoured every page, but this time, I'm putting my trust entirely in our resident book-loving guru, Luke, to walk me through a book that's been on so many must-read lists. Start with Why by Simon Sinek. Luke, thank you so much for joining me again. You've been absolutely buzzing about this book, Start with Why, for weeks. I've seen it, I've heard countless people talk about it, but if I'm being completely honest, I've never actually picked it up and read it. So, for the uninitiated, what is the big deal? Why is everyone talking about this book?
Katie, it's an absolute game changer. Seriously, it's one of those rare books that once you read it, you can't unsee its principles. It fundamentally shifts how you perceive success, leadership, and even personal motivation. Sinek doesn't just offer tips. He breaks down the very core of what makes some individuals and organizations incredibly inspiring, influential, and achieve truly lasting success, while others, despite having great products or services, just don't quite hit that mark.
Okay, game changer is a powerful endorsement. You've definitely piqued my interest. And for everyone listening right now, if this conversation sparks your curiosity and you want to delve deeper into Start With Why, you can find an affiliate link in the description below to grab your very own copy. Using that link truly helps support the show, and we'd be so grateful if you did.
Yes, please do, and trust me, you will want to dive deeper after this. So, at its heart, Start With Why is built around a concept that Sinek calls the golden circle. It's deceptively simple, but incredibly profound. He proposes that every single person, every organization, operates on three distinct levels: the what, the how, and the why.
What, how, why? Sounds logical enough. But knowing you, Luke, there's clearly a secret sauce to how these three interact that makes all the difference.
Bingo, that's precisely it. The vast majority of companies, and even most people, communicate from the what outwards. They'll tell you exactly what product they sell or what service they offer. Maybe, if they're a little more sophisticated, they'll explain how they do it, perhaps mentioning their quality processes or unique features. But what they almost universally fail to articulate, or even consider, is why they do what they do. Sinek's revolutionary insight is that truly inspiring leaders and organizations work from the why inwards. They start with their ultimate purpose, their core cause, their deepest belief, and then they move outwards to the how they achieve it, and finally, the what they actually produce.
So, it's not just about selling a product or a service. It's about selling a purpose or a belief. That makes so much sense on an emotional level. I can immediately see how that would resonate more deeply with people.
Part 1. A world that doesn't start with why. Chapter 1. Assume you know. This chapter is a crucial wake-up call. It highlights how often we, as observers or consumers, assume we understand the fundamental reasons behind someone's success, when in reality, we're only looking at the superficial results, the what and the how.
So, it's about challenging our preconceived notions, right? Like we see a company that's absolutely crushing it, and we just assume, oh, they must have the best product, or they must have the best marketing. But we're completely missing the real engine driving their success.
Exactly. He gives powerful examples of companies that, on paper, appear to be doing everything right. They have innovative products, clever marketing campaigns, competitive pricing, fantastic customer service, but they still struggle to achieve genuine customer loyalty or lasting impactful success. And the core reason, Sinek argues, is because they lack that foundational, clearly articulated why.
Can you give me a more concrete example that really brought this to life for you?
He talks about how so many companies try to mimic the success of others by simply copying their what or how. Let's say Apple releases a wildly popular new device. Other tech companies immediately jump to replicate that device or similar features, or even their sleek design. But Sinek points out that they often falter because they haven't bothered to understand why Apple does what it does. They've just mimicked the external manifestations, not the internal belief system.
Oh my gosh, that's so true. We see that constantly in the podcasting world too. Someone launches a wildly successful show, and then suddenly everyone tries to copy the format, the segment types, even the exact tone of voice. But more often than not, those copycat shows just fall flat because they haven't figured out their own unique why for putting content out there. There's no soul behind it.
Chapter 2, Carrots and Sticks. This chapter is a really insightful dive into the most common yet often least effective tactics that businesses and even individuals use to try and motivate people. We're talking about promotions, discounts, fear of missing out, peer pressure, bonuses, incentives. Sinek collectively labels these as carrots and sticks because they're all external motivators designed to manipulate behavior.
The classic sales tactics. Buy now, limited time offer. Or if you don't act fast, you'll regret it. I am very familiar with those. They're practically ingrained in our consumer culture.
Right. And Sinek's point is that while these tactics can definitely work in the short term, they can get people to buy something once or to make a quick decision. They fundamentally do not inspire loyalty. They don't foster genuine trust, and they certainly don't encourage long-term innovation. They create transactional relationships, not deep, meaningful connections. For instance, a price promotion might convince someone to buy your product this week, but it gives them no reason whatsoever to come back and buy it again when the price goes back up, or when a competitor offers an even lower price. It's a race to the bottom, not a path to building a devoted following.
So it's like chasing a sugar rush instead of cultivating a healthy, sustainable diet. You get the immediate gratification, the quick hit, but there's no long-term benefit or genuine nourishment.
Part 2, An Alternative Perspective. Chapter 3, The Golden Circle. This is, without a doubt, the core concept of the entire book, and understanding it changes everything.
Okay, so tell me more about this golden circle. How does it work conceptually? Or if I were to draw it, what would it look like?
Imagine 3 perfect concentric circles, one inside the other. The innermost circle, the very center, is why. Surrounding it, the middle circle, is how. And the outermost circle, encompassing everything, is what. As we discussed, most organizations communicate from the outside in. Here's what we do, the product. Here's how we do it, the features process. So, want to buy it? It's about facts and benefits. But inspiring leaders and organizations, the ones that truly stand out, communicate from the inside out. They start with their why. This is our purpose, our belief, our cause. Then they explain how they bring that belief to life. And finally, what they actually produce as a result. Sinek uses Apple as the quintessential example. Apple doesn't just say, "We make great computers." That's their what. Instead, their message consistently starts with, "Everything we do. We believe in challenging the status quo, in thinking differently." The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and incredibly user-friendly. And by the way, we happen to make great computers.
That is a massive fundamental shift in perspective. It's not just about selling a gadget. It's about selling a philosophy, a way of seeing the world. They invite you into their belief system.
Chapter 4. This is not opinion. This is biology. This chapter, for me, was mind-blowing. Sinek doesn't just present the golden circle as a good idea. He explains the actual neuroscience behind why it works so effectively. He talks about our limbic brain, that older, more primitive part of our brain responsible for feelings, trust, loyalty, and all of our decision-making. Crucially, the limbic brain has no capacity for language. It processes emotions and gut feelings. So, when you communicate your why, your purpose and belief, you are speaking directly to that emotional decision-making part of the brain. You're hitting them where it counts, even if they can't consciously articulate why they feel drawn to your message.
So, it's not just a clever marketing strategy, it's actually wired into our fundamental biology. That's utterly fascinating. So, when Apple talks about challenging the status quo, they're tapping directly into that emotional core within us, bypassing the rational brain initially.
Exactly. Meanwhile, the what and how, the facts, features, and benefits, appeal to our neocortex, which is the newer, more rational, analytical part of our brain. This is the part that processes language, facts, and figures. But here's the kicker. While we use our neocortex to rationalize our decisions after we've made them, the initial decision is often driven by our limbic brain, by that gut feeling. So, if you only present the what and how, you're completely missing the primary driver of human behavior and decision-making.
Okay, this is getting really deep, and I'm totally hooked. So, once an organization understands its why and the biological reasons it works, how do they actually implement this?
Chapter 5. Clarity, Discipline, and Consistency. Sinek argues that simply finding your why isn't enough. To truly make it powerful and lasting, you need clarity, discipline, and consistency across your entire organization. Clarity of why means having an absolutely crystal clear, unwavering understanding of your core purpose, cause, or belief. It's not a vague mission statement hidden on a wall. It's a living, breathing principle that every single person in the organization understands and feels. Think of Southwest Airlines. Their why isn't just to fly planes. It's to give everyone the freedom to fly, to democratize air travel. And that why guides everything they do, from their low fares to their fun no-frills attitude.
So, it's genuinely felt throughout the company, from the top down, and not just some corporate jargon or a slogan that collects dust in a drawer.
Precisely. Then there's discipline of how. This is about ensuring that your processes, your systems, your culture, and every single action you take are in direct alignment with your why. It's the practical steps you implement to bring your why to life. If your why is about empowering your employees, then your how better include things like flexible work arrangements, a culture of trust, and opportunities for growth, not just lip service.
And I'm guessing consistency of what means that every product you create, every service you offer, every piece of communication, everything you do should be a tangible manifestation, a living proof of your why and your how.
You've absolutely nailed it. It's about ensuring that your actual offerings, your marketing campaigns, your customer service interactions, literally every touchpoint consistently and authentically reflect your why. If your why is about innovation and pushing boundaries, then your what needs to be genuinely innovative products and services, not just rehashed versions of what everyone else is doing. Sinek uses Harley-Davidson as a prime example. Their why is deeply rooted in freedom, individuality, and rebellion. And their what? Their iconic motorcycles, along with their how, their powerful community. Their rallies, their lifestyle, all consistently reinforce that core why.
Okay, that's a solid, actionable framework. So, once you have your why sorted and your how and what are aligned, what's the next big piece of the puzzle?
Part 3. Leaders need a following. Chapter 6. The Emergence of Trust. Sinek emphasizes that trust isn't something you can buy or manufacture with clever advertising. It's built painstakingly when people genuinely believe that you or your organization truly believe in your why. When your why is clear, authentic, and your how and what are consistently aligned with it, people instinctively begin to trust you. It creates a sense of shared values.
So, it's about deep authenticity and a genuine belief, not just saying the right things or having a slick brand image. We naturally trust people who are consistent in their actions and who we feel truly believe in what they're doing. It's like trusting a friend who always stands by their word.
And he talks about how this trust is the bedrock that allows people to take risks, to innovate, to feel secure, and to commit wholeheartedly to an organization or a cause. It's not just about trusting the quality of a product, it's about trusting the intentions of the organization behind that product. Chapter 7. How a Tipping Point Tips. This chapter is all about the mechanics of how ideas, products, and even social movements spread and gain momentum. Sinek brilliantly incorporates Everett Rogers' diffusion of innovations theory, which categorizes people into different groups based on when they adopt a new idea or technology. Innovators, early adopters, early majority, late majority, and laggards. He makes the powerful argument that the tipping point for an idea or product, that moment when it suddenly catches fire and becomes mainstream, isn't achieved by trying to convince the early majority or the late majority. Instead, it's about winning over the early adopters.
So, it's not about trying to convert everyone all at once, but rather focusing your energy on those specific individuals. who are naturally inclined to embrace new ideas and are willing to take a chance.
Exactly. The early adopters are the ones who don't just buy what you do, they buy into why you do it. They resonate with your core belief. And if you can gather enough of these early adopters, they become your most passionate evangelists. They spread your message, they champion your cause, and they, in turn, influence the early majority. Think about how Apple built its initial cult following. Their earliest customers weren't just buying computers. They were buying into Apple's why of challenging the status quo, of thinking differently. They were part of a movement.
That's a truly powerful concept. It's about building a devoted movement, not just a fleeting customer base. So, now that we understand how to build trust and how to reach that crucial tipping point,
Part 4. How to rally those who believe. Chapter 8. Start with why, but know how. This chapter highlights that while the why is the visionary North Star, the how is the absolutely critical practical execution. Sinek draws a distinction between the why type of leader, the visionary who articulates the purpose and inspires, and the how type of leader, the person who figures out the systems, the processes, the actionable steps to turn that grand vision into tangible reality.
so it's about recognizing that you need both roles, and often they're embodied by different people within an organization, like a dynamic duo, the dreamer and the doer.
Precisely. He often uses the iconic example of Walt Disney, who had the expansive, imaginative why to create happiness, magic, and wonder for families. And his brother, Roy Disney, was the essential how person who meticulously figured out the logistics, the financing, the engineering, and the practical steps to make Walt's incredible visions a concrete reality. Without the how, the why remains just an unfulfilled dream. But equally, without the why, the how lacks direction, meaning, and genuine purpose.
That's such a brilliant way to illustrate it. It truly emphasizes that both are not just important, but absolutely essential and complementary.
Chapter 9. Know why, know how, then what? This chapter brings the entire golden circle concept full circle, showing how the why, how, and what need to be in perfect synergistic alignment. When all three are crystal clear, disciplined in their execution, and completely consistent in their manifestation, that's when organizations truly flourish, attract loyal followers, and achieve sustained inspiration. The what becomes a living, breathing, tangible proof of your why and your how. And this is where he introduces what he calls the celery test.
The celery test? That sounds unusually healthy for a business concept. Or perhaps crunchy.
It's a fantastic analogy and actually incredibly useful. Imagine you have a very clear why for your organization, or even for your own life. Now opportunities come your way constantly. How do you decide which ones are truly right for you, and which ones will lead you astray? Sinek says to apply the celery test. If your why is all about health and well-being, and someone offers you a donut, that what clearly doesn't align with your why. But if they offer you celery, it aligns perfectly. It's a beautifully simple, practical filter to ensure that every single decision you make, every what you pursue, aligns authentically with your core why. It brings immense clarity to choices, both monumental and seemingly trivial, for any organization or individual.
So, it's essentially a very intuitive decision-making filter, making sure you stay true to your core purpose and don't get distracted by things that might seem good on the surface, but don't actually serve your why. That's genuinely clever. So, now that we've talked about building and aligning,
Part 5. The biggest challenge is success. Chapter 10. Communication is not about speaking, it's about listening. This is an incredibly insightful and, frankly, sobering part of the book. Because Sinek argues that, ironically, success itself can often be the very undoing of a great why. This chapter powerfully highlights the critical importance of truly listening to your followers, your customers, and your employees. Once an organization achieves significant success, there's a very real risk of becoming insular, of getting caught up in internal operations and stopping to genuinely listen to the very people who helped them get there. Sinek argues that real, effective communication is always a two-way street. It's about deeply understanding the evolving needs, desires, and even frustrations of those you serve. which is essential for staying true to your original why as you grow.
So, it's about remaining deeply connected to your original purpose and the people you're serving, even when everything is going incredibly well. Don't get too big for your britches, as the saying goes, and forget who you are and who got you there.
Chapter 11, When Why Becomes Fuzzy. This is where Sinek explores in detail how even highly successful organizations, with clear whys, can gradually lose their sense of purpose over time. This most often happens when growth becomes the absolute primary, overriding focus, or when new leaders come in who don't fully comprehend or genuinely embrace the organization's original why. When that why becomes fuzzy or diluted, the how and what can start to drift, leading to a loss of trust, a decline in loyalty, and a weakening of the organization's unique identity. He uses examples like Walmart after its founder Sam Walton passed away. The laser focus shifted from Sam's why of serving the small-town customer to simply being the biggest and cheapest, which fundamentally transformed the company and its relationship with its customers and employees.
So, it's like losing your navigational compass in the middle of a long journey. You're still moving, you're still working, but you're no longer sure exactly where you're going anymore, or even why you embarked on the journey in the first place. That's a truly scary thought for any leader.
Chapter 12, Split Happens. This chapter delves into the potential for catastrophic disconnect when the why leadership role, the visionary, and the how leadership role, the implementer within an organization, becomes separated without maintaining consistent, strong alignment. If the visionary why person leaves or gets too far removed from the day-to-day operations and strategic direction, and the how person isn't constantly reminded and realigned with that foundational why, the organization can become fragmented, lose its cohesive direction, and essentially split apart internally or externally.
So, it's about constantly fostering that vital communication and deep alignment between the vision and the execution. Otherwise, the entire structure can just crumble or veer off course. It makes so much sense, yet I can see how easy it would be for that to happen, especially in large, complex organizations.
Part 6. Discover Your Why. Chapter 13. The Origins of a Why. This chapter makes a profound argument. A why isn't something you can invent or simply craft in a fancy marketing meeting. It's something you discover. It originates from your past experiences, your formative moments, your core beliefs, and the fundamental lessons you've learned. For individuals, this means an introspective journey to understand what truly drives them, what they unequivocally stand for, and what their deepest convictions are.
So, it's not about fabricating a convenient purpose, but rather excavating your true, authentic purpose that has always been there, perhaps just beneath the surface. That makes it feel so much more genuine and sustainable.
Absolutely. And Sinek emphasizes that this why often stems from a pivotal moment, or a series of defining experiences that shaped who you are and what you believe to be true about the world. It's not something you concoct. It's something you unearth. Chapter 14. The New Competition. This chapter brilliantly reframes the idea of competition itself. Sinek argues that the real competition isn't about constantly trying to beat other companies in your industry or other people for opportunities. Instead, the most meaningful competition is against yourself, against your own potential. It's about the continuous strive to be better than you were yesterday, always staying profoundly true to your why, and, in doing so, inspiring others to embark on their own journeys of self-discovery and impact.
Wow, that's an incredibly powerful and uplifting way to end the book. It's not about external battles, but about maximizing your own authentic impact by living your why. So, Luke, after immersing yourself in Start With Why, what would you say is your single biggest takeaway? The one thought that really sticks with you?
For me, Katie, it's the profound simplicity of it all. It's not some convoluted academic business theory. It's a fundamental truth about human psychology, about what genuinely moves and inspires us. When you effectively communicate your why, you're not just selling a product or a service. You're extending an invitation. You're inviting people to join a cause, to align with a shared belief, to be part of something far bigger and more meaningful than themselves. And that, I believe, is the most powerful force in the world.
I can absolutely see that. Even just listening to you unpack it, I'm already thinking about how I communicate about Long Story Spoken, or even my personal goals and aspirations. It truly shifts the entire focus from what I do to why I do it. I honestly think this is one of those rare books that absolutely everyone, regardless of their profession or stage of life, could benefit immensely from reading.
I wholeheartedly agree. It's universally applicable whether you're an entrepreneur, an artist, an educator, a parent, a community leader. Anyone who desires to inspire action, build lasting relationships, and create something truly meaningful and impactful.
All right, Luke, you've done it again. You've successfully managed to not only introduce me to a book I was only vaguely aware of, but have now made me genuinely eager to read it cover to cover. So, for all our incredible listeners out there, if you're feeling as inspired and intrigued by today's conversation as I am, remember, you can find Start With Why by Simon Sinek using our affiliate link in the description below.
And I promise you, it'll be a journey worth taking.
Absolutely. And before we wrap up today's episode, a massive heartfelt thank you to each and every one of you for tuning in to Long Story Spoken. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Start With Why, and you appreciate the conversations we bring you, please like this episode, share it with a friend, and most importantly, subscribe to the podcast. It genuinely helps us grow, reach new listeners, and continue bringing you more great content and fascinating discussions just like this one. We absolutely love hearing from you, so please feel free to leave us a comment and let us know what book you'd like us to discuss next. Until next time, keep reading, keep thinking, and always keep starting with your why.